DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
And welcome in live inside DETV Sports. The crew is back here after a long holiday week, and we hope everyone out there had a very happy and safe 4th of July weekend. But we are back ready to go on a Monday. As always, I am joined by the one, the only, Matthew Maurer. Matthew, how are we doing today? Welcome back in studio here, a week removed for us here. Again, a nice holiday week to get our stuff together. We are now into the NBA. Summer League has started here in 2 different locations. We'll get to Vegas later on this week. NFL just around the corner. I know Dennis has a training camp update for us here coming on a little bit later on in the show, but a lot to get to, a big show here. I know, like I mentioned, we had a week off, so what you been doing here in the last week or so? How was your 4th of July weekend?
It was good, man. Catching up on the draft stuff. We got the next draft coming up already. Right. It's never too early.
Never too early.
Let me think. What else? Catching up on the free agent signings.
Yeah, big week.
Mainly.
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of the guys that were undrafted that were rookies, they came in and got deals. So, just looking at all that, looking at guys getting summer league roster builds and seeing what everybody's doing. So, all that, doesn't really stop really. Not right now. Yeah,
that's for sure. Again, already back at it here. Again, we'll draft just a few weeks ago, and now Matthew already getting to work here on the class of 2026. So we'll see how that goes here as we progress into it. Is there any undrafted free agents that you really enjoyed? I think coming off the top of your head here as we now are into summer league. Any of those guys that you think made a splash or off season that you really liked? Maybe one of those unsigned guys from the draft.
I mean, there are a couple guys I thought could have been drafted, but nobody that I wasn't really offended by that didn't get picked. I think it just all comes down to a matter of preference and where you see players fitting in with your system and what you want to run. But no one really stood out at the top. But I mean, I think it was a underwhelming class of rookies. You got a lot of guys that went back to school, so I just think that just suffered some of the talent pool.
Yeah, Dixon from Villanova again ended up with the Lakers. That was one of the big ones that I think as an unsigned drafted player, so he'll be with LA. I do like that one for them again from the Wildcats there, so I had to throw a shout out there to Dixon. And there we go. How about this show to the start today? Dennis doing all kinds of stuff here. He's really getting us going here. What a start here on a Monday here. It's a long holiday weekend, so we're having a good time here. It all got started this morning. Hope everyone had a chance to check out Good Morning Delaware. That kicked us off here back on this Monday. So Matthew, as we dive deeper and deeper in, let's talk about the Summer League. And I want to start with, of course, our guy now here for the Philadelphia 76ers. We had our draft show a few weeks ago. You had this player, the freshman of the year in the Big 12. You had him slated to the Sixers with the 3rd pick in the draft. You were right on that as well, so good job there. And not only that, he had himself a heck of a debut on Saturday in the Utah Summer League. It was pretty fun to watch. You had Ace Bailey going up against Edgecombe, the 3 pick versus the 5 pick. And let's check out some of these highlights because VJ was phenomenal. 28 points. How about that? Showing off the hang time there off the glass. Then here around the screen, a 1 of 7 from deep, but was able to get to his spots. That spacing in the NBA really seemed to benefit him, something he had none of during that freshman year at Baylor. So he was phenomenal. 28 points, 10 rebounds, added 4 assists, 2 blocks, or a block and 2 steals as well. So he filled up the stat sheet. There he is, throwing it down with the right hand. The athleticism stood out. Was guarding Ace Bailey, held him to 1 of 7 shooting from the field there in this one. We gotta love what we saw out of VJ Edgecombe. Again, was phenomenal on both ends in that debut.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's everything that, I kind of thought he would be.
Getting excited.
Tremendous in transition. Half-court game is where he's going to struggle at. But, look, this type of system where he's at right now, just running and gunning and running down the floor, I mean, he's exceptional. Defensively, I think that's his biggest asset right now. I mean, he's long arms. Mm-hmm. Tremendously athletic, so he doesn't really have a problem guarding most guys, especially wings, which is unusual being that he's 6'4". I mean, that's just how athletic. You're talking about a guy that has like Victor Oladipo level athleticism at that height. So, I wasn't shocked by anything I saw at VJ. I think he looked exceptional.
And again, that's what you want to see out of those guys, in the summer league. One of 3 players all time in their debut or during their debut in the summer league to have 28 points and 10 rebounds. One of 4 guys. And again, I'm not going to have you guess the other 3 because we could be here. That's a really tough question.
Right.
The other 3, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Victor Wembanyama. So quite the list to be a part of for VJ. Again, I'm excited that he's a Sixer, excited for what the future holds. They're in action in 3 minutes as we speak. They're back out in Utah tonight to take on the Thunder in the Summer League. So you can stay right here with us, but feel free to tune in every now and then to see how Edgecombe and the rest of the Sixers are doing. Johni Broome added, I believe, 13 points, 5 rebounds, the SEC Player of the Year. So he had himself a good showing as well for Philadelphia. On the other side, Ace Bailey, right? A guy that me and you, I think, both like there on our top 5 prospect list. 1 of 7 shooting. You could see that he could get any shot off. That wasn't really a worry coming in.
Right.
But shot selection was something that we were curious about. Had some bad shots in that game. Just wasn't able to hit that, guarded pretty well. He has the wingspan. He can guard a lot of positions. Very versatile.
Right.
What did you see out of Ace Bailey? Obviously, the shooting nights, that will improve getting into a new system. He'll find the offense later on. But what did you think of his debut?
I mean, I think Bailey, this is kind of the good and bad with Bailey. I mean, right now, he thinks he can make every shot. And really, in the NBA, what it comes down to is spots on the floor, if we're being honest. It's about where you're comfortable. It's about where you feel that you're most in the rhythm when you get the ball. Right now, he's still filling all that out. I mean, look, his number one skill that he's been able to do ever since high school and even in college is make really hard, difficult shots. But the other side of that is because he does try to make difficult shots, that sometimes they don't go in. And I think at this level, with everybody being such an impressive athlete at this level, I think he's going to have to learn to tone down things. I think he's going to learn to take smarter shots and more efficient shots. And really, this is what Summer League is really designed for right now. So, I wouldn't worry yet, but I will say this. I think it kind of played out the way I think most people did. And listen, also Bailey's mindset right now, I mean, he's not happy going to Utah. I mean, there was little back chatter that he might not show up. I mean, the stories around Ace have really been all over the place, and we really don't really know what is transpiring in the background there. But look, hats off to the kid. I mean, he went out there, he played. I don't think he wanted to go to Utah, but I think he's making the best out of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, you talked a little bit about it, right? What's going on behind the scenes? A lot of interesting stuff coming up about his agent, who is actually not even registered as an agent officially with the NBA right now. So, and then there was apparently a rumor that his son, the son of the agent, was going to be helping coach the Utah Summer League as a free internship. The NBA kind of jumped in there and sliced that up too. So it's a very interesting thing that's going on there in Utah. We haven't heard anything from Ace. We've kind of heard of people around these, happy kid, go-lucky kid or whatever, has a smile on his face, but we don't know if that was him that didn't want to go to Utah, if it was his management that didn't want him to go to Utah. I mean, he's just coming out and saying that he did whatever they told him to do, that really he didn't really have a preference. I think he's kind of, whether he's playing like he's naive or do you believe he's naive, I don't know, but that's something we're going to have to determine, or whether, it was the people behind him that had him acting that certain way, or if it was him personally. So we're going to find out. Because, again, I'm sure you read up a lot of the agent info. Well, what's your whole take on that? I'm sure you've seen the videos of the guy and obviously no background in that sort of thing. Like, how does something like that conspire and even happen? I guess just knowing from him from a young age?
Well, yeah. I mean, his father has a lot of inroads in that area where Ace comes from. I mean, for people who don't know, his father not his father, I'm sorry. The agent's son is Sharif Cooper, who played at Auburn, was a McDonald's All-American.
And who's supposed to be a member of the coaching staff for the job.
Correct. Tia Cooper, who played in the WNBA, that was another player that was actually his daughter. So he has a lot of ties, a lot of things that connect there. I think what happens with this situation is some of these guys start out as what they call street agents, where they kind of do running for main agents. And then after a while, if they can build a relationship with a significant player enough to the part where that player trusts them, sometimes those guys then try to take on the next stage and become, legit NBA official agents. So I think that's the process we're dealing with right now. I will say this. I think being that this is a unique situation, and I don't think people really know all the backstories as much, because this isn't the first time this happened in the NBA. it's not the first time it happens in the NFL even. I mean, this happens all the time. I just think this is one of those rare circumstances because of Ace Bailey and his background and where people project him to be. I think that's why it's become more of a mainstream view. But if we're being honest, I've seen this happen several different times.
Yeah.
In several different sports. So
yeah, it happened this year in the NFL. You look at Shamar Stewart, the pass rusher out of Texas A&M, signed with the Bengals. Again, I'm not positive right now. I don't think they still have a deal. He left the training camp because they couldn't come to a deal. But he had a family member as his agent in the draft. Declined many in-person interviews and stuff like that. So again, it all falls on who your representation is, and it's not all about that, but it's what you do when you get there, right? So we'll see what Ace Bailey can do when he gets there. But in his debut, 3 of 13, 8 points. Did have 7 rebounds, 1 assist, a steal, and a block there. I wanted to also shout out Walter Clayton Jr., 9 points, 6 assists for him in his debut to go on with a couple of rebounds there for Utah. But again, VJ and Johni looks good for our Philadelphia 76ers. They are in action right now. So again, VJ had a heck of a debut. So future is looking bright. But there's one thing we know over the years, Matthew, is that you can't take a lot out of the NBA Summer League, right?
No.
I mean, we've seen bad summer leagues where players have ended up fantastic, like Trae Young, for example. We've seen fantastic summer leagues, and then guys just not follow that up in the regular season. So, I mean, we've also seen Donovan Mitchell had a great summer league. Sometimes it translates, but most of the time it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't really translate. And I just think at this point, you just got to look at guys and see, how they're performing. I wouldn't get too high and I wouldn't get too low, depending on the performance. I mean, some guys are going to go in there, they're going to struggle, and then later on they'll become better in the NBA. And some guys will come out like gangbusters, and then next thing you know, they're barely playing in the NBA. So it happens. I've seen it happen both ways. One other player that was in Summer League and did look good for what it's worth.
Let's see. I have a guess. I want to see what you're going to say.
Nikola
Topic. I knew you would go there. I had him right next up on the agenda. Go in.
Yeah,
What did you think of the debut?
I mean,
over a year since he played 5-on-5. I think he just started before Summer League.
Yeah, from the ACL tear last year. Look, he looked good. I mean, he took a couple guys off the dribble. Did not show any significant issues with getting past guys. Again, the rich get richer, and this is a problem. Again, I know people don't like to hear this, but Nikola Topic was a kid when he first started out the year where he was drafted. I had him on my board as a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Some people had him as high as 3. As the season progressed, he didn't do anything to not prove that. Then the injury happened, and then that's when he went as low as he did. But I can tell you this right now. He does have top 5 value. And if they can get that going, it's going to be problems for the league. They got the rich will get richer, and now you have a guy that's going to join the backcourt off the bench with Case and Wallace and other guys. It's crazy.
And that was the thing. I mean, you mentioned you have him as a top 5 prospect, number 1 European prospect, I believe, in that class, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Over a year since we last saw him. I know they mentioned him, or Coach Dagnall mentioned him during the finals, that he was starting to ramp up a little bit. And because of the success the Thunder have had that you mentioned with those draft picks, that would gave them, I think they picked him 12th overall last year. And they were allowed, and as you mentioned, a little bit of a slip there as well. So they were able to take that guy because they didn't have meaningful minutes to give anyone right there and then. And they knew that he wasn't going to come over. So that allowed them to be like, hey, we can wait a year, see how it goes, and now take him because we don't have many roster spots. And like you said, it, the rich get richer. Again, we'll see how long it takes him to make an immediate impact in the NBA. But he certainly looked good there in his first game in quite a while. And again, that team is loaded up with so much young talent. It's going to be very interesting just to see what they do because they can't keep everybody. They got a lot of picks. They've got a lot of young talent. They're coming off a championship. You can't keep everybody. Shea just signed that huge new deal, making him the largest contract in NBA history. 4 years, $285 million. So congratulations to SGA, MVP, NBA Finals MVP, and now the highest paid player in NBA history.
I remember when guys were getting 7-year, $100 million. People were losing their mind. I mean, this is
a different
incredible.
world. It is a different world that we are living in today. That is for sure. Let's take it now from the Summer League to some of the deals maybe that have been going on here. Free agency started last Monday. We were off. We did not have a show then, and that allowed us to just kind of sit back and soak in all that was going on. So the last time that we talked here on set, it was your mock draft special ahead of the NBA draft a week and a half ago on that Wednesday. And we've had some trades since then. So last time we talked, it was Kevin Durant to the Rockets. We had seen that one. We had gotten your opinion. We had gotten my opinion on it. So now let's talk a little bit about what has happened since then. And I want to start with Miles Turner going to the Milwaukee Bucks out of nowhere, shocked the Pacers. They wouldn't fork up the extra money, go into the luxury tax anymore, pay that extra dollar. Really, you don't.
No.
Again, a team that's going to have to sacrifice next year. It came out today that Halliburton will be out entirely for next season, so you're not playing for anything next year. Turner, again, a huge blow to Indiana after what they were able to accomplish the last few years. He got more money to go to Milwaukee. Giannis had to love it. People around the league love this move for the Bucks, but you feel a little bit differently.
No, here's the thing about Miles Turner. Everybody talks about the ability for him to be a good help defender. He has shown the ability over the last couple of years to be a decent three-point shooter. Again, I just find him as a player uninspiring. I mean, granted, he does do well on the defensive side of the ball, but, I mean, he's not a great rebounder. He tends to disappear. If his shot isn't falling from the outside, he's becomes a liability offensively. So, again, Miles Turner, I think in this era, with the center position being devoid of crazy talent, I think a guy like him probably gets propped up a little bit higher than you normally would prop guys up like this. Look, Turner's a top 10 center in the league. I will begrudgingly say that.
Bucks needed that too.
And the Bucks definitely needed that. But I think they're going to need more than Miles Turner if they're going to satisfy.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, we sat here a few weeks ago, and I was almost convinced that he would be out of there.
Right.
Now it's kind of they got Turner. He's been happy there, and people are saying that he has a chance to stay in Milwaukee, which will take us we talked about Damian Lillard getting released, and me and you had a chance to talk about that.
No,
betting
we did
waves.
not.
So let's take that because we had a conversation about Damian Lillard a few weeks back. And you know what his future might be. We got your personal opinion there, and there you go. But he's waived now, right? They waived him to make room or to get the money here for Miles Turner.
Yep.
So hurts the Pacers, good for the Bucks, but they also now lose Damian Lillard, who a few years ago was the big piece in that huge trade to get him to try to compete for another championship. Did not go well. They haven't made it out of the first round the last couple of years. Right. So now Lillard's a free agent. So we're going to go from the Bucks. I'll ask you this question first. You still think Giannis leaves? You think he stays? And after that, let's dive into Damian Lillard. Where does he end up? He's a free agent, and we'll talk about him in a second, but first off, Giannis, stay or go now after Miles Turner and some of the things they've done here in the last week.
I think he's going to still go. I mean,
I hope he does, and I want to believe that, but half of me is thinking he's going to end up staying. I hope he doesn't, and I think that might be crazy that he does, but I don't know. Every time I want somebody to leave or I think somebody might leave, it never works out that way.
I would like him to go just because I don't like the narrative that's been created over the last couple of years and that foreign players are more loyal than their North American counterparts. I would like him to go just because I think this era of – I think that was probably true in the early 2000s and late 90s. I think this new modern foreign player has a little bit different mindset. And I think for most of these guys, I think they view the NBA product a little differently than they did in the past. Doncic – Jokic, I think, is going to stay in Denver for the rest of his career.
Think so too.
But in terms of, Edgecombe, I just don't see how he stays there. I think he's done as much as he can there, and honestly, I think I don't think he owes the Bucks anything, and I don't think the Bucks owe him anything. So I think it's one of those deals where
they got their championship.
Exactly. And I think he's going. I really do. I think. There's been rumors that he's liked Golden State for years.
Yeah, I remember those.
I don't want him to go to Golden State.
I just don't know how they would. I mean, I guess they would have to get rid of a lot of guys.
There'd be some guys that have to give her.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about because they would have. They'd be one of the teams with I think a little bit of the assets that might be able to get it done. So that's interesting there. But now let's talk a little bit about his former teammate Damian Lillard, who now was waived to make way for Miles Turner, a move that was said to be. That Giannis liked, and then when he found out that Lillard was the reason that he had to be cut, apparently he wasn't a fan of that, but you can't have it, both ways. What do you think about Damian Lillard now? He is a free agent. He can sign wherever he wants. Reports came out that he wasn't upset with this decision. He was actually, encouraged by it. He wanted to be a free agent, was okay being cut, didn't like it in Milwaukee. He had some issues with the training staff. He wanted to go back and rehab the Achilles, back home or some other spots, and they didn't like that. They wouldn't let him leave, so they kept him near the team. So there was kind of some disgruntlement there, and now he's a free agent. But the question is, one, does he have anything left in the tank? I think I know your answer. And then number two, what team would benefit the most from having a However, 30-plus-year-old Damian Lillard coming off of an Achilles.
I think he's a solid piece.
Is he a starting guard? Still a starter?
No, I wouldn't start him.
Really?
No, I don't. I mean, again, he's always. The thing about Dame Lillard that's always shocked me.
That's Matthew's favorite player.
That people leave out about Dame Lillard is he's a high volume point guard. He's a guy that needs a lot of shots to get going and to make his impact felt. If you look at his career, he is not a guy that sets up the offense. He is a guy that creates offense. And when you're talking about the position that he plays at point guard, and no matter what, I mean, he's 39 years old. He's got an Achilles tear. Time waits for no man. He's going to slow down a little bit more. I think at this stage, I think he'd be a great coming off the bench. But if Dame Lillard is your starting guard, I just don't think that there's anything for your team in the postseason. I just don't. I think you just want him to throw up a lot of points because I just don't. He's like Bradley Beal to me. I don't see the value.
Yeah, and you're right about that, right? Again, when they made that big three in Phoenix,
not
optimistic, and that didn't work out for them either. So you were right there. And now let me ask this. Two teams been rumored around here for Damian Lillard. We got the Boston Celtics, actually, on one hand, and then Golden State, which is on his West Coast where he's from there on the other hand. Any other teams come to mind for you? Where would you like to see him? Not maybe where he'd be the most successful, but where would you like to see him? And do you think he'll end up on a competitive team, a team that's actually playing or competing for a championship, or do you think that he goes because he just wants to play to a low market team that's kind of like in the play-in range?
I think Lillard wants to just play. I think he's like Bradley Beal.
He's not ring chasing now. Is that?
No, I think he's ring chasing. I just don't think he's a. Here's the problem. If you're telling me that Dame Lillard is a guy that right now you can plug and play and he's going to be a quality guard at the next level, I mean, for whatever team he plays for, I struggle with that concept because to me that's Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday brings defense, he brings playmaking, and he can make shots. With Dame Lillard, all you're talking about with him, he's not a spectacular defensive player, he's not a spectacular passer. You're talking about a guy that he gets the majority of his value from
some
scoring.
Clutch shots, yeah.
And making tough shots, exactly. So if there's a team that needs points, I can see him being a good fit there. But if it's a team that needs leadership, if it's a team that needs, offense to be generated for players that aren't quality enough to get their own points, like a playmaker, I just don't think that's a terrible floor.
I hate to play in tournament floors.
Yeah, I hate to play in tournament floors as well. Look,
you know what? Go ahead.
It's just I just don't. I think he'll be a team like on the Clippers or a team that doesn't need any.
What do you think about? Let me ask you this. If I'm him. And again, I don't know whether he wants to play or ring chase, whatever, like we talked about. I stay in the East, number one. I think the East, with being wide open as it is, the West is a gauntlet. I don't want any part of that if I'm him right now at this point in my career, especially if we're looking for, again, a chance to compete for a title and to play. Again, I'm just throwing this out there. They just made a trade, for Desmond Bane. What about Orlando? What about Lillard in Orlando? He's down, got the warm weather in Florida. Doesn't have to start for that team. Paolo kind of runs the show there. He runs the offense. Congratulations, by the way. He just signed a new max contract today, before we got on the air.
First one in his class.
Yep, we're both big Paolo guys here. Even Matthew as Paolo to Duke Blue Devil even. But he can kind of run the show. I don't think he would have to be that guy in Orlando, and I think it's a team that could use that maybe off the bench. Jalen Suggs got to get healthy. He's more of a 3-and-D type guy. I don't know. I think Orlando would be interesting for him.
If they can convince him he can come off the bench.
Well, that's the thing.
I think he's great value. But
we both just said that we think he has to, right, at this point?
He's got to. The problem is I think he thinks he's Harold Melvin.
I think you're right.
And I think he's a blue note.
I don't think he's going to do it either. And that's the case. Say he wants to start, that'll change the conversation. Yeah. What teams now come to mind when if he says like I want to be a starter?
Yeah, that's it. I don't see a team that's a
like Atlanta alongside Trae Young. Like
that'd be terrible. There'd be no ball movement.
And how about the defense there too?
Yeah,
right? That wouldn't work. But I'm trying to throw some, playing devil's advocate here, throw some teams out there for you. Brooklyn, those are teams that aren't competing.
Yeah, non-competing teams that just need points.
See, and again, I agree with you there. I don't think he wants to go to a non-competing.
No.
So then now he's going to have to find, this magical combination of competition and playtime that might not be out there.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to settle for one or the other.
There's this idea that the Golden State Warriors want him.
Yeah, maybe
I
5
don't
years
see how
ago.
he fits. You already have
together camp. Can't do that.
Curry, you already have a guard right now that you have to create shots for. That's at the tail end of his career as well.
And he's a way better version than Lillard.
Way
right
better
now.
version,
I guess still
superior
not close.
version. Yeah, it's not even close. But again, that's the problem with Dame Lillard. That's always been the problem with him. And people want to judge him differently because he looks at his watch and says Dame time, and he makes hard shots.
It's been a while since we've seen that, huh?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen the Dame
honestly,
time.
I think it's quitting time. But, that's just me. I don't know.
That's a clip out there. We'll see how many Dame Lillard fans come to his rescue after hearing us.
Look, I want to say this. I want him to prove me wrong.
Oh, we
but he
both
didn't prove
do.
me wrong when he went to Milwaukee because I told you what was going to happen there, and people already made excuse. Well, he was injured. There was all these other things that happened. Nah, dog. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Matthew may come off like he's pessimistic at some of these new deals. I always get a little bit more excited, not for them, but just the fact that stuff's going on in the NBA, et cetera. And Matt always just pour water right on it. When Phoenix got Brad Beal and Kevin Durant, I got excited. I did. I'll admit it. I got excited. Matthew said, "What are you getting excited for?"
It's Bradley Beal.
And there was nothing to get excited about there. He's doing it again here. We'll see what happens with Damian Lillard.
Bradley Beal is this era's world be free, man. A lot of points, no winning.
Speaking of which, we're big world be free guy. We got a chance to hang out with him last Friday in Camden at the 76ers facility.
No
so
diss
we're
to you,
friend
world.
of the show. That's right. We are not bad.
No diss to you, world.
The great world be free. We're hoping
But
to
you
get him
did
on
put
the
up
show.
some points for some bad teams,
We're
world.
hoping to get him on the show here at some point.
Cleveland
down the line.
Cavs. It's
But
kind of
again,
nasty work.
We're looking at this, and again, I know I want to get off this soon, but I'm looking at teams. I just don't know where he goes. I just don't know where he ends up. I have a feeling it's going to be a team, obviously a playoff team, but like I said, he's looking for play time. And
If he still
competitive.
thinks he's the main guy,
He's always seemed like a down-to-earth guy, but in that respect, I feel like ego. I don't know. I feel like that's what the way he's feeling.
yeah, I don't buy the down to earth guy thing with him.
Really?
Nah. This guy thinks he can be a full-time rapper and be a full-time ball player.
Well, I did. You remember reading the thing where he said Steph Curry should have been him? Do you remember? Did you read that? Yeah. See that? I didn't like.
Yeah, I don't think this guy has a small ego. I think the idea that he has a small ego is derived from the fact he plays for Portland. Is derived from the fact that he doesn't play for Nike. He has Adidas. I think all that he went to Weber State. He didn't go to that's what I'm saying. All these things, I think, add up to people thinking he's this humble guy. He's not a humble guy. He thinks that him and Curry are neck and neck.
Well, I laughed. There you go. So that's
Yeah.
not true. I mean,
He thinks that. He thinks he should be in that discussion.
I mean, and again, I don't know. I didn't want to spend this so much time on Damian Lillard, but we will here for a second.
Yeah.
Western Conference Finals appeared, and don't get me wrong, like those teams
Yeah.
that he took there, they weren't supposed to get there, and that is that's a big thing. But they weren't competitive in any of those finals. I think they got to 2. I don't think they were competitive in any of those. The Warriors made quick work of them. I think 5 and 6 games, maybe 5. Maybe it might have been 5 games twice.
Correct.
So yeah, would you say the biggest moment of his career is that shot against Paul George?
That's a fact.
Right?
That's it.
And if that's the case, that's not.
And if I'm hating on Dame,
And again, I like Dame. I do. It comes off as if we're hating, but
no, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am hating. I want the people that think that I'm being that I'm not telling the truth here. I want you to answer this: is Dame Lillard a top 3 Portland Trailblazer of all time?
let's do the math. Bill Walton,
And what I'm saying is, and I will say this: he is,
Clyde Drexler,
but I
Bill
have
Walton.
him 3rd.
Behind those two.
That's a fact.
There you go.
So how am I hating?
Yeah, no. I mean, it is crazy, right? Because that was a huge moment, the Dame time, when the deep shot Paul George let him have it. But that was I can't think
That's
of
it.
Yeah.
That's it. And watching them struggle in the Olympics. Congrats. But y'all gonna call me a
Where is he going to go out again? Put your guesses in the comments there. Where is Damian Lillard going to end up? Maybe we'll have a surprise for you if you get it right.
Shanghai Sharks are out hiring. Shout out to Ben Simmons. He's still
Hey, he says he wants above the minimum.
Look,
He wants above the.
I gotta
better
say
minimum.
this about Ben Simmons. Look,
Wasn't even on the agenda today, but let's do it.
I just saw him put out a video for the Rico Harris run. Listen, bro, stop. I am tired of the Ben Simmons preseason.
We've been saying this every year for 4 years.
This dude he's all world in these things, and then I see him playing the regular season, and he's averaging 3-3-3. Come on, bro. I don't buy it no more.
He's got the triple single.
I'm tired of the hoop mixtapes during the summer, man. He may not know this. The summer doesn't count. It's the NBA regular season that counts. I don't give a damn about Rico Harris runs, bro. Stop doing it, bro. Yeah. I don't care anymore.
I don't know if we'll see him again. He's a free agent right now. Do you think a team signs him?
Go to the Shanghai Sharks in China.
Take Damian Lillard. Take Damian Lillard. Go to the Shanghai Sharks.
They will give you $2 million.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
This is it. And he's actually shooting.
He does this every
Go
year.
figure. Every year. Now this guy wants to shoot.
He's playing against guys.
Look, to quote my man from that viral clip, this dude's a crumb bum, man. I'm tired of this dude, man. It's like
I
come on.
said, I didn't want to talk about. I don't know how he came up, but you're right. I mean, it's been. Well, that was me, I guess. That brought.
All he cares about is looking pretty on the bench, man. I'm done with this dude, man. I'm done. I'm done.
Man, that seems like
his own countrymen don't like him. Australia said
he had the wrong attitude from the jump.
Nope, don't want you, bro.
Matthew Dellavedova didn't want him.
Matthew Dellavedova don't want him. Dyson Daniels don't want him. Andrew Bogut don't want him.
Joe Ingles.
Joe Ingles don't want him. You ask them Australian kids over there?
Patty Mills Australian?
Nope. He's Australian.
Yeah. Right.
You ask any of them guys, who is your role model over there? None of them pick Ben Simmons, bro.
Not now. I mean,
none of them. Because Ben thinks he's arrived, though. Real quick story, I got to tell you.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you this real quick story. This is a true story. And I ain't going to tell you, I'm not going to say the person's name that told me this because, you hear things.
That's right.
They had a work, so Australia, a lot of the guys, they come together and they play in real humble gyms, right? And all these guys, they're like NBA guys, overseas guys, these guys are millionaires. They're all going into this general locker room, changing and getting on the floor, right? This dude said he wanted the coach's office to change. True story.
I don't think anybody's ever brought that up. Yeah, I don't think that's ever been talked about.
And they all looked at him and said, "Are you serious?" That's who Ben Simmons is. Ben Simmons is a diva who will forever be a guy who we will look back at and say, this guy didn't even reach Derek Coleman level. He just woke up one day and said, I suck.
That's crazy. Funny. My dad has made that analogy over the years. He said
crazy.
He calls him Derek Coleman or called him Derek Coleman.
That's disrespect to DC.
Well, now I was thinking this was back. Now it is, right? Yeah. Isn't it? That's crazy to think about. But yes, now it is a.
He just woke up one day and said, I'm gonna be a crumb. I'm gonna be trash. How do you do this?
Well, one of the guys that, again, I guess was a little bit trash last year dealing with some injuries. He's got a new team, like Kristaps Porzingis, former NBA champion, battled some injuries last year, and now he's heading to the Atlanta Hawks with that Trae Young combination there. That should be a good duo in Atlanta. George Niang and draft considerations.
Healthy,
we knew going in Boston had to let go of these guys with the money in the apron. I mean, the stuff that happens, with the luxury tax, et cetera, is. We talked about the CBA. It's crippling, so you got to get rid of these guys.
Yep.
And they've gotten rid of him. Drew Holiday is gone. Obviously, he wasn't happy, I think, to be shipped to Portland, where he is now. Yep. And then Al Porzingis, he heads to the Atlanta Hawks. Your biggest takeaway from what Boston's doing so far, and what do you think about the Hawks for next year?
I like the Hawks. I think they're going to be competitive as long as Porzingis stays healthy, which is a big maybe.
It's a big if, yeah. But we've seen Trae when he's got big guys like that. Him and Clint Capella were very successful. Clint Capella now back with the Rockets, actually there as well. So, again, they lose. Celtics losing Porzingis and Drew Holiday off of this roster. But as of right now, again, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, that core is still there. Again, they'll add a few other pieces here throughout the offseason.
Miss you, Porzingis. We miss you, dog.
So we'll see again with the Hawks. I think I love his fit there in Atlanta. So we'll see if he stays healthy, what he can do with Trae Young there. Payton get some more minutes next year.
He's gonna get some serious minutes.
Gonna get some serious.
Real quick, look, man. Can the NBA stop with these damn cup courts, man. These courts are terrible, bro.
He does too much.
terrible.
Adam Silver's doing too much, and we talk about that on the show over the years. For him to remember the rumors about wanting to have a team in Paris or something like that, it's just ridiculous. We got
listen.
I don't even acknowledge it anymore.
I got some. Look, with the NBA Cup, you know what would be cool? I'll tell you what would be cool. Instead of this weird kaleidoscope collage courts that y'all doing, it looks like a 5-year-old took a crayon to it. Do throwback courts.
Oh.
You know, if it's Chicago, put
like
up
the
the
Charlotte
old Chicago
Hornets throwback.
Yeah,
Oh,
put
man.
up the throwback, the old Denver Nuggets.
Even the Sixers throwback with the ball on
the
the
Spectrum,
sides.
the Spectrum Center
Even that,
court.
even the
Yeah,
early
man.
2000s, yeah.
Do that, man. This whole cup thing with these weird crayon colored courts, I don't like them. They garbage, man. I don't want to see that, man. It's crap.
VJ Edgecombe, just for the record, out of the lineup tonight for the Sixers in the summer. I guess they saw a lot of what they needed
they
to
said
see.
we're going to shut it down. We're going to shut that down.
That's what you want, though. That's what you want.
That's what you want.
You want to
That's
see that.
definitely what you
You want to get shut down at summer league. That means you're
That's a
doing.
fact.
That means you're doing the right
That's a
thing.
fact.
So no VJ Edgecombe for the
Johni
Sixers.
Broome out there, though, ain't he?
Yeah, Johni Broome out there. He's
Yeah.
good. He's got 1 for 2 here to get started. 3 points, 2 rebounds.
That's because
for
Johni Broome is like 24 going on 35. But
That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. We were talking when we were over there at Camden. Do you think he gets any time? He's an older player. I think he goes right to the Sixers. You don't think he'll wind up with the Blue Coats? And I'm not saying whether or not he has the skill to play immediately for the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA, but I don't think we're going to see him start with the Blue Coats. I think because of that age and all the tread that he is.
no, he doesn't really have a lot of potential. I mean, you
see, that's how I feel as well, right?
Yeah, I think
you know what you're getting, kind of.
Yeah, I think they're going to let him out and see what they got, and then
You just want him to rebound, play some defense.
right. And if he doesn't do well, I honestly think he's going to get cut fast if he doesn't do well, because I think they know what he is at this point. I don't think he's going to like develop anything.
And they took him in pretty early there in that second round.
They did a little bit earlier than I would have.
I was going to say there's a couple other guys I might have thought
Shout
about
out to
there,
the
but
Sixers for not paying attention to the draft chart.
But again, we can argue with what Daryl Morey has done in recent years.
I can
with
argue with it.
Maxey, McCain, and
I can argue
and
with
VJ
it.
looks pretty good so far.
No,
The first
McCain's
round?
great.
You don't like the Maxey? What about Maxey? You can't argue with the Maxey.
Maxey
pick.
was great.
All right, so where does he lose you?
Every time he builds a team, he loses.
Well, I'm talking specifically the last few years of the draft. But yes, if you want to go
Well,
back
he's
there.
certainly better than Sam Hinkie.
Yeah.
He's certainly better than
Brian Colangelo.
Brian Colangelo's
Whoever was running that
absent-minded
team.
professor, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, he's certainly better than those
I think he's
guys.
better than Elton Brand, too. Well, it depends. I mean, when Elton Brand first got the job, I mean,
See, here's the
they
thing
kind
about
of ran
Daryl
the stuff into the
Morey.
ground.
Here's the thing about Daryl Morey. And look, maybe I'm being harsh when I judge him, and maybe I'm not judging him fully on everything he does as a GM. But in terms of roster creation, I don't think he did anything that was crazy in the Houston Rockets. I think he literally made a poor version of the Golden State Warriors.
That's what he was trying to do, right?
And that's what he was trying to do. I don't think he did anything that we were like, yo, this is crazy. This guy's a genius. How do we not think this through?
I mean, they drafted they made a good draft. Capella was a great draft pick back then for where they got him, and obviously the trade for Harden was, the big thing there. That was kind of what made that team what it was.
Correct.
So that was a great move. Obviously, that was a franchise
Feather in the
changing
cap, for
move
sure.
for that one. But I mean, I don't buy though the if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they beat the Warriors. I don't buy that a little. And I know maybe that's ridiculous of me to say, but up 3-2, how could you not? How could you say that? I just don't think they win that series. I really don't think they win that series.
I think Morey's good. I don't buy the whole Mensa badges.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and I agree with you there and I've always kind of been a Morey advocate, but who are you comparing him to? Nobody that's won a championship.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. You gotta know your expectations. You gotta know what he's done and what he's and where you hold him. And that is, for me, he's right under the group of guys that maybe in the middle tier right here, right now. And if we can get a championship, obviously that changes things. But hasn't taken a team to the finals, if I believe. And the Sixers haven't been out of the second round since he's been there.
Yeah, I put him in the top 12 among
Yeah,
GMs.
I think so. I agree with you there. Yeah. I mean, Sam Presti's in a league of his own right now.
That's a
what
fact.
he's been able to do. And again, Indiana's been fantastic for what they've been able to do over the last couple of years, but that could change fast now with what they've lost here going forward and Halliburton. So we'll see what happens there. Again, the Sixers down by 2 in the Summer League right now here to the Oklahoma City Thunder, Memphis, and Utah. I'm going to round out Summer League action here at 9 o'clock. Let's keep with here these transactions. Lonzo Ball For the Cavaliers, what do you think there for Chicago trading Lonzo to the Cavaliers? Any impact at all there for them next season? They're one of the few teams that'll be battling for that Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, I think he'll fit in pretty well there. I mean,
like it too.
They lost a little bit of movement when Darius Garland went down, so I think he kind of solidifies them. And look, the one thing Ball can do is he can definitely create shots for people. I don't think he's going to have to create shots for himself, so I think he's a perfect fit for that.
Got to stay healthy, right? It's another one of these guys where you got to stay healthy. That's the big thing. And him and LaMelo were going at each other on Instagram the other day, and LaMelo said the Bulls mascot has played more games than you since you got to Chicago. So we'll see about that. But, yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy. I'm a big Lonzo guy. I think he can definitely have an impact if he's on the floor, especially for a team competing in the Eastern Conference that's wide open like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Any other free agency, anything that you really stood out to you that you liked a lot? I mean, we mentioned Kristaps Porzingis. Jordan Poole gets traded in that deal to the New Orleans Pelicans. You saw what, and this is going back to the draft, what Memphis did to, I believe, trade up and get your guy at 11. The name is slipping my mind right now. But Brook Lopez, 2-year deal to go to the Clippers. I mean, anything else stand out to you for the first week of free agency? I mean, it wasn't a big free agency period this year.
No, but I will say this: the Bronny James show
nice dunk yesterday.
He is about to continue. He's done well.
Elaborate, dive in. What have you seen out of the phenom?
Yeah, phenom. I wouldn't say all that, but I will say this: this past draft did give the James family something that they desperately need. They now have a guy, Talon Peter, and I'm not knocking Talon Peter, because everybody said, Matt, people don't talk about the 55th pick. Well, I talked about the 55th pick. Talon Peter got drafted this year by the Indiana Pacers, and I can tell you this right now, he was not in my 125, he was not in my 150, and he was not in my 175. So Talon Peter is now officially, I would say, one of the worst 55th picks I've ever seen, because he's not even. So this whole thing where I said that at least Bronny James is on my top 125. This dude isn't even in my top 175. So, and speaking of the Bronny James dunk, here you go. And look, I will say this too. I am anxious to see him get out there. He's I think this is going to be year 2 removed from the heart attack that he suffered. That's right. That a lot of people said took a lot of steam out of him. So I think this is a good thing. So I'm actually happy that he's out there. He looks healthy. He looks like he's a little bit more comfortable out there. I actually think I was one of those people I felt he should have went back to college, because I just think he would have done better. I think the transition would have been better for him. But not my son, not my choice. And at the end of the day, we'll see if we're right or wrong about him. But I will tell you this: he looked solid out there. He looked a lot more comfortable than I saw him in last year's game. So hopefully, maybe this is a good thing for things to come. Who knows? It's the Lakers. It's a crap show right now.
Yeah, I still can't believe they got Luka. I think that's absolutely still ridiculous.
Shout out to Rob Pelinka.
But again, I mean, you think about it, Luka looks like he's getting back in shape, etc. Right now, maybe losing some of that weight.
You believe this?
I don't know. Is it Ben Simmons syndrome? Yeah. Is it the off-season syndrome, the off-season videos?
No, man. I just don't. I don't buy Luka in shape. That's all I'm saying. Luka's one of those guys. He's got this. He needs that weight.
You saw, but then I went back. I thought the same thing, and I went back and watched those rookie year and year 2 highlights. Different player. I mean, he's still unbelievable. The way his movement on the floor. I mean, I almost forgot that he operates.
Oh no, he's tremendous. I think.
Got it.
Look, I'm being funny, but honestly, if he loses, I say 15 pounds, I think it would make all the difference with him creating taking guys off the dribble and creating shots for himself. I think he'd do a world of difference for him. I just worried that he's kind of done this for so long now, being out of shape and not being highly in shape, that I don't know if he can just put the genie back in the bottle, if you will. We'll see.
Quickly though, while we're on that topic, Mavs will get Kyrie back at some point. Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag.
Yep.
How do you like them next year with that roster?
I don't. Because I don't believe
I like him better than you, though.
Anthony Davis.
Here we go again, though. We getting excited about a new team.
Because last year, when people said, Matt, you don't know what you're talking about. Anthony Davis is really good. And I said, yeah, he's really good as long as you wrap him in saran wrap and bubble wrap and
Less than a quarter.
yeah.
He lasted less than 1 quarter.
It's Anthony Davis, man.
His debut in a Mavericks uniform lasted less than 1
I
quarter.
don't know what we're doing here. It's Anthony Davis.
It's tough there, but again,
And unfortunately, Kyrie, I think Kyrie be good. I think he'll be straight.
coming off a really bad injury though.
That's true. And I don't think Cooper Flag is to the level that Luka Doncic was as a rookie.
No, I don't think so. But with that roster and that construction that they've got, they really don't need him to be right.
He does have a better team than he's going to.
I think so too. He has a. I think. Again, they interviewed him during the draft, and they were talking about the Nico Harrison trade. You see that side eye? Like, I don't know if you saw it at the press conference where they mentioned, Nico Harrison traded Luka Doncic, and he kind of just like gave a look over to him during the press conference. Go back and watch it. It was pretty funny there.
How does Nico Harrison have a job still?
Something's going on. There are a lot of things that people will never understand that behind the scenes, and I've come to grips with that. Like even like I said, even you might not even hear about
the Bilderberg
things
Group.
Like, I mean, it's who knows.
The Illuminati.
Like stuff
Reptilian
like I don't know
group.
if I'd go that far, but
With the Alex Jones tinfoil hats on right now.
I don't know why the Mavericks
There
did
was
that though. I still don't understand.
They need a hotel in Las Vegas. The ownership of the
Hey,
Dallas Mavericks.
We talked about
needed
that the day
and they
after.
I love it. That's right. And look, Nico Harrison, this is just my thoughts here. Nico Harrison
Fire him.
should be fired. I'm just going to be honest with you. He should be fired. The fact
And
he
he got bailed out by this number 1 pick. 1% chance. I mean, for him to get bailed out, and then he comes out and he says future favors the bowl.
I got something to say about it.
How about that? I mean, to come out and say like he expected to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Let me just say this. The NBA has got to start doing things a little bit more on the up and up and more transparent. Now, listen, I know what people are going to say. They film it. They show it. I get it. But the NBA draft lottery process, it takes a little bit of mathematics to figure out. They have number combinations, and the number combinations equate to a certain amount of. It's not as dry.
complex.
Yeah, it's not as dry as in we dropped 250 Dallas Mavericks balls or 40 of the Detroit
See, that's
Pistons
what
balls.
they should do. Though.
That's exactly what they should do. But they don't do that. And because
literally
they don't
makes
do
no
that,
sense.
that's why we're here and we have these conspiracy theories. So my whole thing is make the process more simple. Cut it down and have things work the way that we need them to work. And that way we don't have these conspiracy theories. But when you have back-to-back years of teams winning the lottery with 1% chances to get the number 1 pick, it looks funny. The Victor looks funny. Everybody knew Victor was going to
that's
San
right.
Antonio.
We forget about that one already.
Everybody knew. No one was shocked because it was the perfect place for him. Dallas
Parker,
Mavericks,
that's right.
same thing. Everybody knew perfect place for him to go. And people just say, oh, that's the 1%. It almost smells of the 92, 93 draft when you had Shaq and then you got Chris Webber.
It was Shaq came out and said it. He said, David Stern asked me where I wanted to go. He said, cold weather, warm weather. He said, warm weather, Orlando.
It's a fact.
Tim Duncan to San Antonio after Popovich takes that head coaching job.
We miss David Stern, man. Look, a lot of people.
Honestly.
David Stern was a world class, but listen, he was a gangster. He was a gangster. Make no mistake about it.
That's right. He was
Adam Silver more of a get along guy.
He might not have let Luka get traded to the Lakers.
Dude, he would have done what he did with Juwan
Yeah,
Howard.
and
Remember
Chris
Juwan
Paul.
Howard that signed to Miami and the Chris Paul thing?
Yeah.
He said, "No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not."
That is crazy, though, to think about
Yeah.
that. Like, and we're thinking now, like, we wish it was that way still. Kind of.
Yeah.
Better for the league.
Be better for the
Or
league.
and people back then thought that was insane. They wanted him fired and didn't want him to be.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if David Stern was still running the NBA, Bronny James would have never been drafted. People can say whatever they want. And for those of you who think I'm over here capping, I just want to remind you, David Stern is the lawyer that fought vehemently against early entry. He's the reason why Spencer Haywood didn't get in the NBA, well, not the NBA, sorry, the Naismith Hall of Fame until after David Stern died. Because Hayward was the first underclassmen to get drafted by the NBA. He actually went and took them to court. David Stern was the lawyer for the NBA. When I say that man holds a grudge, when I say that man's a gangster, there's a reason why Spencer Haywood didn't smell the Naismith Hall of Fame until after he died.
Yeah, imagine how different the league would be, right now. And I can guarantee you probably Ray wouldn't be doing anything overseas. There would be no team in Paris that be maybe thought about competing in the NBA, right?
Yeah. And look, the NBA, they got to figure this out. I know they want to get that emerging overseas market. Same NFL is figuring it out too. But I will say this. The NBA is doing it, the NFL is doing it the right way. The NBA is forcing it. I got news for the NBA. They don't want your product. They don't like soft basketball. I'm just telling you that right now. These people grew up watching EuroLeague. They grew up watching ACB, which is Spain, which is arguably probably the second best league in the world. The games are a lot more physical overseas. This watered down hyper 3 ticky-tack fouls, that ain't flying with the consumer overseas. They don't like that. They don't like it. They laugh when our Olympians come over there and cry about getting hit because they don't look like fouls to them. So I'm just saying, Adam Silver, he's got to fix this product if he wants to really get it over into an overseas market, because that overseas market, they like the 90s style basketball. They don't like this style of basketball. They just don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's going to be interesting. He's right, because how successful would that even be if they decided to even go ahead and do that? Also, sticking with the NBA here, Matthew, something we have to talk about is Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley, second in sixth man of the year voting this year. What a season he had for Detroit. What a season it was for the Pistons. He was set to make a pretty penny this offseason as a free agent, maybe restricted there with Detroit or another team, but instead he might be in some trouble. No criminal charges yet filed, but he is under investigation, obviously not with the team right now. It is said that Malik Beasley, it's a gambling investigation, that he might have been trying to earn some extra money. It turns out he owes $8 million to debtors, and it's across different platforms. He wasn't paying rent for certain apartments he had and was living at. And I mean, all the charges are all what he owes here: $650,000 to a marketing company, $27,000 to a celebrity barbershop in Milwaukee, $27,000 to a barbershop.
That's wild.
$22,000 to an apartment building where he didn't pay his rent while he was in Detroit. $35,000 to a dentist in Minnesota that he never paid.
Bro, what kind of work are you getting for $35,000, bro?
He must got some brand new teeth right there. But he was having a great year. Like that, all of that wouldn't have been an issue. He signed his contract there last offseason there to be in Detroit. So again, you really think for an NBA player of even his caliber, that might not be an issue. He has made in his career over $60 million, but still owes a pretty penny here. And gambling investigators. So what do you do, Matthew, when you don't have the money to pay somebody? You got to find out ways to make some money,
That's
right?
Fact.
And if you're playing in an NBA game, there are lines, as we know, player props on every NBA player. So Malik Beasley is under investigation for some unusual activity for his player props in the month, I believe, of December 2023 and January of 2024. So again, we're seeing this with Malik Beasley. What do you think about this here? Because apparently he is drop in production in both of those months. Here was a few games. Him and the Wolves had a significant drop when he was on the floor in January. He had 13 turnovers in the month of January, and a lot in the game that they're referring to, which matched his combined total in November and December entirely. So he got the over on the turnovers there for Malik Beasley. He's trying to make some extra money. That's what it looks like. No criminal charges yet filed, but Malik Beasley could be out of the league here, it seems, maybe the way of Yonte Porter.
Yeah, I think so. And I think David...
And I know, sorry to cut you off there, but you have been one to talk about the whole gambling aspect in the NBA and how that, 5 or 7 years ago, they wanted nothing to do with gambling. It wasn't even, you couldn't even bring them up in the same sentence. Now you've got sports books in the arenas, in the NBA stadiums that you can bet while you're watching the game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now Malik Beasley, another player, and this might not be the last one.
There's a reason why David Stern, during his watch, didn't take any of that money.
That's a good point.
It was out there. They could have grabbed it. And just for the historical lens, people may not know this, but it almost killed college basketball in the 50s. There were bettors that, try to influence the action. There was some point shaving in the 70s and 80s, but it was relatively small. The problem with this is I don't think this is going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see these guys are highly competitive. A lot of them, as we even see with The Last Dance, a lot of these guys live on a razor's edge of competition. They bet everything. And sometimes they're a little overly competitive. And sometimes they bet on themselves, and sometimes it has disastrous issues. And I tell you the real big problem with these players is this isn't like the 70s and the 80s where you point shaved. I mean, Arizona State had that point shaving thing in the early 90s.
We got Donahue.
Yep. And it's not like that now.
Or Donahue.
Because, you had Donahue with his little thing. Now you have Redditors. You have a bunch of people on social medias that are breaking down the game. So with Malik Beasley, they have, I want to say, almost 20 different plays that were questionable plays that he did something that was highly irregular. We're talking about like 8 seconds left to go in the game. He grabs the rebound off a missed shot.
We got to find that video.
And sprints all the way down to make a last-second layup. And people are like, why do you do that? And even the players are like, what's going on?
I got to find it.
Like, these are things that now are out for public consumption and for public dissemination. These people are it's going to be hard to do these things now under the cloud of cover of where the region of the game is played. Now it's played globally. So now these people they're breaking down this game. It's not like the old days where a guy that played in the West Coast, the East Coast might not see it. No, they're seeing everything now. So now you got all eyes on you. It's going to be hard to disguise when you do irregular stuff. And to your point, the betting action, these houses want to win. I just saw something where I can't remember what it was, but you know how like people have like betting groups.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Me having just been in college. Oh God, it's been a little while now.
Right.
2017. Everything was about gambling. I mean, it was every person I knew was doing it and it's only gotten bigger now.
Yeah, and now everybody's betting. I mean,
everybody's betting.
My son is 19 years old. He had a friend talk about a parlay. Yeah. I'm like, what? You talking about a parlay? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like telling my son, like, yeah, don't get involved in that, man. Like, the closest I come to betting, and it's true, is maybe I'll put down $10 on something. But other than that, it becomes a slippery slope. And you have people out there that are betting mortgages and whole entire living.
It's crazy. And like you said, now it's to the point in the NBA where you can bet on everything. Like it was before you could take the spread, that was it. You can bet on players' minutes, players' rebounds.
Right.
And these are things that these players can directly control what they do on the floor.
Yep.
I mean, and we're seeing them say, hey, if I could just make it seem like if I get one less rebound than what I'm supposed to get, I could make this much money. I mean, it's kind of crazy how easy it would be for them to do that.
That's a fact.
It's just you've got to be smart enough to not do it because you will not, I'm telling you will not get away with it.
No.
There's no way you're going to get away with it. And we're seeing that now with Beasley. I mean, before this whole thing came out, again, second of the year in sixth man of the year voting.
Yep.
Detroit had a contract offer for him prepared, 3 years, $42 million. Could have paid off some of the $8 million with that contract, but they rescinded it. They pulled it away because now he's under investigation. Now he could be facing charges. We're going to see if we can get that clip
I think he's gone.
From Dennis. About this is one of the games where he zoomed down the floor that you were referring to and covered. He covered as the game was. I mean, it was hilarious.
Crazy.
We got to see if we can find it. Here it is. Here they are down. They need to cover 8. They're getting 8 in this game. They're down by 9. Time's expiring. He races down the floor and dunks it as time expires to cover the spread, which was 8. So they lose by 7. I mean, if they show a picture of him before the video of him on the free throw line, like all anxious, like waiting for the guy to shoot the free throw because he needs to go score to cover. I mean,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is so crazy. And I think you're right. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's only going to get worse. I mean, Yante Porter was one of the guys that never really played. It was interesting. We didn't think much. Now it's a 6th man of the year. One of the 2 guys that finished with. I mean, who knows who else is already doing it? What other names are going to come out?
Yeah.
And who knows?
Yeah, and I think look, Adam Silver has to send a strong message. It can't just be I slap you on the hand. It's got to be.
And that's what they did to Porter, right? Like he was gone. I think they banned Porter. They got to do the same thing.
I mean, this right here is damning. Look at the players. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They don't even
Well,
know.
they should have known right there. They should have known right there. And I bet you that's somebody who had to. I mean, it was identified, as you said, social media. They got it quick.
Yeah.
And again, you've got all these investigations going on. They'll get you. You can't escape that.
No.
You cannot. The money is always accounted for.
That's a fact. And the house always got to win.
Yeah, and the house always wins. That is for sure. If you're a young guy watching out there, don't get into it because the house always ends up on top.
And we're finding out if the house loses, they're changing the terms of service. I saw that.
Oh, that's right. You gotta be careful. You read the fine print too when you're getting in there. But yeah, Malik Beasley. I know we had to talk about that. Very interesting there.
Crazy.
See what happens. He could be banned for the year. And they were a team up on the rise. Had a big contract coming. Man, could have made $42 million there.
That's terrible.
So, again, we talked about free agency. Summer League, again, Vegas is the big one. That'll be coming up a little bit later on in the week. We've got the two small ones in San Fran and the Sacramento Summer League. Sacramento Summer League, which is in San Francisco, interestingly enough.
Yep.
And then the Utah Summer League, where the Sixers are playing right now. So we are back here after the July 4th holiday weekend. Again, we all hope you had a happy and safe weekend. And then we'll be back next week with a lot of football, some more NBA Summer League, and some more stuff in the world of sports. But, Matthew, anything on your mind here on a Monday? You've had a week off to think about it.
Yeah.
What you got going? Anything that you'd like to chat about?
So, this is a shout to my Atlanta folks. We're having a baseball discussion. And they said to me, they found out I was a Phillies fan.
Go Phils.
I said, well, home of the best third baseman you've ever seen.
Mike Jack?
Mike Jack. And they said, no, it's Chipper Jones. So I'm just
Good player. He's a good player.
Great player.
Yeah, you're right.
Hall
He's
of
a great
Famer.
player. Absolutely.
So he got 2 Silver Sluggers, 1 batting title, 8 All-Stars, 1 MVP, 85 WAR. Okay? Mike Jack, 3 MVPs, 12 All-Stars, 6 Silver Sluggers, 105 WAR, and 10 Golden Gloves. I don't know what we're doing here, folks. I don't understand.
No argument for me.
I don't understand. What world are you people on right now? Like, don't get me wrong. Chipper Jones, phenomenal.
Yeah, great player.
I got all the respect in the world for Chipper Jones. He's arguably the best third baseman of the second generation of players. I got no problem. I mean, there's a conversation with Alex Rodriguez, of course. But listen, he's on that short list. I got no nothing but respect. But, dog, it's Mike Jack, dog. I'm not just trying to talk here. Like, Chipper's got no Golden Gloves. He's got none. If you think the MVP is a style award, okay, fine.
Yeah, not just hitting either, right?
Right,
Yeah.
not just hitting. Like, everything goes into this. You got 6 Silver Sluggers to 2 Silver Sluggers. You got 10 Golden Gloves to 0 Golden Gloves. You got 105 WAR to 85 WAR. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why we're having these conversations. Like, look, I get it. Chipper's your guy. I get it. And maybe you think Mike's my guy, and he is my guy. You know, I'm a Mike Jack Schmidt guy, of course. But, dog, that man is certified. I don't know how we can argue these things. Certain things are just true. It's like me saying, I think Babe Ruth sucks. And he's not like, dog, Babe Ruth is a colossus in the sport. Whether or not he played against nobodies, his numbers reign supreme. You can say whatever you want. The numbers back it. Everything backs it. His peers back it. His era backs it. At some point, you just got to just say guys are who they are. And look, and I get it. It's baseball. I know things have changed. You didn't have middle relievers. You didn't have relief pitchers as much back now. Like, guys are throwing 100 pitch counts now. I get it. Things have changed. I'm not saying they haven't changed for the worse, although I think sometimes they have a little bit. But at the end of the day, baseball, the thing that makes baseball baseball is that the numbers matter. And the numbers are all we really have. We don't really know about Ty Cobb. We don't really know about Hank, Musial. We don't know about these guys. Cy Young. All we have is the numbers. That's all we have. And, yeah, things have changed. I get that. But, dog, come on. it's not like Mike Schmidt played in the 1900s or the 1920s or the 1930s.
1980s.
We saw this guy. We saw this guy throughout the 70s and the 80s and parts of the 90s. Like, bro, like he's one of them guys. If I would argue that besides, Reggie White, Mike Schmidt is probably on that Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia.
I agree 100%. I think he is, no doubt.
Yeah.
I think he's a no doubter.
Yeah, I don't even know what the argument is.
That's a conversation we could definitely have on the show. We could have a full. But I mean, off the bat, I think Mike Schmidt 100%. Allen Iverson, I think 100%. Even though the no chance, just what he did for the city, and then those two are locks in my opinion.
Yeah, Reggie White probably be another lock for me. But after that, like we can have that argument for the fourth guy. But I'm just saying, like, this isn't a guy that I'm casually throwing that name. It's not like I'm saying Von Hayes. Like, bro, I'm talking about a real killer, a real certified guy. Like, come on, stop.
Yeah, I just watched the documentary on him the other day, too.
Yeah.
Phenomenal MLB Network. Yeah, I mean, man. What a player, what a guy. Again, you can catch him some Sundays doing the broadcast with the Phillies there, who, again, atop the NL East as we head into the All-Star break. One thing I do wish we would change back in baseball is I want everybody to wear the uniforms for the All-Star game. I used to love, I hate how they do. And the uniforms are ugly as hell right now. I mean, last couple of years they have been. So go back to the old uniform. Everybody wears a uniform out there. That's what I think they should do. 100%.
I'm with you.
Well, before we get out of here tonight, two more things before we go. It all starts with Dennis's. What do you think? Do you want to go question of the week or trivia question first?
Let's do the question.
Trivia?
Question.
Oh, question of the week, Dennis. Hit us with it here as we close out Monday's show.
What sport?
Which rookie will make the biggest impact this season? Got to be NBA, right? All right. NBA draft. Matthew, again.
I'm going Cooper. I mean, I think it's going to be Coop. I think he's going to be one of the guys that's going to be most counted on out of this rookie class. Yeah, I got to go with Coop, and I know that seems like such an uninspired choice.
But like coming into the show, I was thinking about that exact question. Funny that Dennis actually gave it to us, and I kind of thought the same thing. And I went, God, it's not a popular answer. It's not a a thinker or anything like that. Right. But I think I would have to agree. Now, if we're gonna take him, say we take him off the table, like if he wants to say, guys, you can't say Cooper Flag, then where do we go? So I got two names for you. I want to say. I'm going to start with two things. I think there's a lot of impact to be made on the Jazz. I think they got a lot of shots to get up over there. Markkanen can't take them all. They've got two guys in Bailey and Clayton. I think that can both get shots up. I think just in terms of impact, again, they're going to have the biggest potential to make an impact. They're going to be on the floor almost all game. They're going to be shots that they're going to need to take. I also am going to say Trey Johnson, I think, for the Washington Wizards. That's going to be one of the other names I go to. No Jordan Poole to fire up 30 shots a game. Trey Johnson is a volume scorer.
Yep.
And I think he's going to get some shots off. And again, don't expect anything much out of Washington, but if he can have a successful year scoring the basketball, I think that'd be big. And I think he could do that there with a lot of room for him to make an impact. Not a lot of guys on that roster.
Yeah, I'd go Trey Johnson, and I'd go probably Derek Queen.
Yeah.
I think Derek Queen will do well in New Orleans.
Yeah, also, what do you think about Jeremiah Fears down there as well after they get rid of McCollum?
Yeah, Fears got a good situation there.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with those guys. And that'll take us to the trivia question. We've had 2 weeks in a row where we've said the answer and haven't locked it in. Like, is that your final answer? Yeah, so we've said it out loud twice, but we haven't settled on it. We need to rebound this week. Dennis, hit us with the question. Which player holds the record for most points scored in a single NBA summer league game? That's a good one.
All
right.
In a summer league game.
Dennis, we just want to ask you one thing here. Is it within the last 15 years? All right, there we go. So up till 2010 until now. Who are we thinking about? You think about the summer league eruptions, right? Like, who do we got?
I'm going to go with...
Who had those big summer league showings? I know Donovan Mitchell had a big one. Just out. Oh, so we're inside 2010. So that takes him out. That takes Donovan Mitchell out of it.
I'm going to go Nikolai Schizzavilli.
Wow, there you go. So now if we're thinking the year 2000, so I'm thinking around 2007, 2008, 2009. Now, those are the years that come to my head. I'm thinking that Gordon Hayward draft class.
We talking about like
who else
total points or just in a single game?
I think a single game.
Single game.
It's like let's start thinking about. Dennis, I'm not looking up the answer. I'm looking up the draft class of 2009. Is that allowed? All right. What do you say? I hope he said yes.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, and the one that came to was the Gordon Hayward 2010 draft class. I guess that can't be it because that was the 2010 class. He said it was right before that. That was the class with Paul George and all those guys.
So we're talking about
John Wall, Evan Turner, so DeMarcus Cousins.
So we're talking about 2009.
It's got to be 2009, 2008. Or if you even go back further than that. See, it's not going to be the Melo and LeBron and Wade. Yeah, it's going to be after that.
2009. Didn't
See, that's Beasley, Rose. Like I don't know if those guys would have been the scorers.
I think it's a trick question. I don't think it's a rookie.
Was rookie in the question though?
No. Yeah, was rookie in the question or was it all time? It's a player. There you go. I'm gonna go because I believe.
It's a trick. It's a trick question.
I think it didn't.
I'm gonna go with Kevin Durant.
Okay, that's a good one.
I'm gonna go with Durant.
That was actually I'm gonna go with the dark horse because I think I remember.
And I think he is trying to trick us. So I don't think I'm gonna be right, but I'm gonna go.
I think I'm gonna go with because I think I'm gonna go with. I think he scored 50. I think, or was it 40?
Either way, that's a good number.
I think he scored 40. I'm gonna go with Anthony Morrow.
All right, Dennis. What do we got?
Oh,
let's go!
That's
2009.
I said 40. Oh, he scored 47? Wow.
There we go, Matthew. Way to pick us up again. I will help us out at some point, I promise.
Oh, my goodness. That was a hard one right there.
He got one, though. Hey, we told him to come up. Don't come with the NBA draft stuff, Dennis. Matthew has got us there on that one. I'd love to know.
That redeems you for the Joey Galloway mistake.
That's right. And then who do we have the time before that? We said something else.
We said somebody else that
it was the Iverson. I said Iverson. It was Iverson.
It was Iverson, yeah.
So there we go. We're on the board again. Dennis, what does that have the score at? 3-2, right? 4-2. I think he gave himself an extra victory. I think it's 3-2. Nah, he might be right.
Nah, he might be right.
Well, that'll do it for us. Catch us again next week where you can help us answer the trivia. We'll get Dennis's question, and we'll be deeper in and closer to the NFL season. Training camp just a few weeks away.
And we're doing fantasy,
That's
right?
right. We'll have our fantasy. We'll have our division breakdowns. We'll have our
show.
Position breakdowns. That's right. We're going to do a mock draft show eventually, but it all starts with our positional rankings, and we're going to get started with that next week. So we're going to break down our
do a
tiers.
league.
There we go. How about that? You guys want to get in on that?
That's right.
We'll have some details coming out in future programs. Again, it's going to be a DETV Sports Fantasy Football League. So we'll see what to give out. Maybe the winner can get some airtime with us here on the air or something like that. We'll figure out the prizes as we go forward, but it should be fun.
Free Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
There you go, Dunkin' Donuts. That's free ads right there for Dunkin', courtesy of Matthew Maurer. Send the man a coffee. We will see you next week for Dennis, Matthew, and myself. That's it for DETV Sports. Hope you all had a happy and safe weekend. Have a happy and safe week as well. Enjoy the Summer League. We'll see you next time.